Hello aspirants, myself Said Rasul, Faculty of History. We at Ekam IAS Academy we have been doing the respective videos which are meant for competitive exams including optional history. As you know, today UPSC General Studies Mains Paper 1 got completed. So as far as UPSC General Studies Paper 1 is concerned, we'll understand how the questions are being asked in today's exam. Right? So everyone says UPSC, it's a Union Public Service Commission, but everyone says that it's an unpredictable service commission. As far as history is concerned, especially this year, I won't say it's an unpredictable, it's an history repeats itself, we call it. So, history repeats itself annappudu. When you go through previous year question papers, in fact, mere observation atlaithe, even manam general studies classes lo ganivandi, optional history classes lo ganivandi, I have been instructing the aspirants, so you have to be good at syllabus followed by previous year question papers and the respective themes. Now, with this background, come to based on previous year question papers and repeated themes and one question from current based we found in history. So this time, UPSC Mains 2025, totally we found 6 questions from history. Out of 250 marks, history carried a whooping that is 75 marks. So let us understand how the questions being asked and what were the areas focused. Everyone knows we have 5 major components in history when it comes to UPSC General Studies Prelims and Mains. We have ancient, medieval, modern, postmodern, including world. In fact, we generally discuss art and culture as part of ancient and medieval. So out of 5 components, it's quite interesting to know each and every question has got from respective components. For example, this particular question we found from ancient Indian history and one of the important chapters for all competitive exams, that is Indus Valley Harappan civilization. When I say repeated questions, even when you go through previous year question papers of 2014, you come across this question, that is, to what extent has the urban planning and culture of Indus Valley civilization provided inputs to the present day urbanization? More or less the same question which we found this year mains, that is, discuss the salient features of the Harappan architecture. Harappan architecture, which we generally discuss in the classes, say for our convenience, scholarly convention, entire art forms and monuments broadly divided into 2 categories, that is sculptures followed by structures. As part of sculptures, we generally discuss, besides sculptures, we have seals, mudrikalu antam telugulo, sculptures, konni rakalaiనటువంటి శిల్పాలు అంటాం. We have sculptures, we have seals, and even we have terracotta figurines. And besides sculptures, we have structures. A structures annappudu, the best example, town planning, which we found in 2014. So it's a direct question, discuss the salient features of the Harappan architecture, which carries 10 marks and you're supposed to write 150 words. So one question from ancient, to be specific, from Harappans. Now the second question from, in fact, we found 2 questions from medieval. Medieval, this particular topic we generally discuss under the tag called early medieval age. మనం తెలుగులో ఏమంటామంటే తొలి మధ్యయుగ భారతము అంటాం. తొలి మధ్యయుగ భారతదేశ చరిత్ర అంటాం. సో ఎర్లీ medieval age లో భాగంగా we have Rajputs. As far as early medieval age is concerned, we have totally 36 Rajput dynasties ruled over early medieval age. Out of 36 Rajput dynasties, we generally discuss half a dozen important dynasties. So one among them was Chandelas antam. So we have Paramaras, we have Pratiharas, we have Rathors, we have Chauhans and Chandelas. As far as Chandelas are concerned, Chandelas, though ruled central India, and they have got 2 major capitals, Mahoba and Khajuraho. And as far as Khajuraho is concerned, it's a cultural capital of Chandelas, where for about 85 plus temples built by Chandelas at a place called Khajuraho. We generally discuss in classes. In North India, Nagara style or Shikhara style introduced by Guptans, whereas Rajputs further consolidated the respective structural elements. That is a question related to Rajputs, Chandelas sculpture. So the second question goes, the sculptors filled the Chandela art form with resilient vigor and breadth of life. Once again, the question carries 10 marks. You have to write 150 words. So when you observe, we found a little bit shift from traditional history to art and culture. The first question, Indus Valley Civilization, Harappan Civilization, talks about architecture, Harappan architecture. When it comes to the second question, also talks about architecture, followed by sculpture. Then how about the third one? Once again, a question from medieval, that is from Mughals. To be specific, we have Akbar. In fact, we have half a dozen important personalities which we generally discuss under the tag called Mughal Empire. We have right from Babur to Aurangzeb. And out of half a dozen important rulers, we generally focus on Akbar's new religion, otherwise called as Deen-e-Ilahi, we call it. Akbar's new religion, that is Deen-e-Ilahi. So the question goes, examine the main aspects of Akbar's religious syncretism. In fact, Akbar followed the policy of religious toleration. Like Ashoka, how Ashoka came up with Dhamma. He wanted to bring all sections of society under one umbrella because Ashoka lived in highly heterogeneous society. Even Akbar of 16th century India, Akbar also lived in highly heterogeneous society. So like Ashoka, he also wanted to bring various sections of society under one umbrella. He came with some sort of code, what little later it is called as Deen-e-Ilahi. It's a direct question from medieval. So we generally say Akbar's new religion or religious syncretism as part of art and culture. And another question from modern Indian history, to be specific, socio-religious reformation movements, another important theme whenever you go through previous question papers of UPSC General Studies prelims. At the same time, APPC and TGPSC, you also come across at least the bunch of questions from socio-religious reformation movements. మనం తెలుగులో ఏమంటామంటే సామాజిక మత సంస్కరణోద్యమాలు అంటాం. So a question, in fact, I would say this particular question, though it's a repeated theme from socio-religious reformation movements, ఎస్పెషలీ జ్యోతిబా ఫూలే జ్యోతిరావు ఫూలే మనకు రీసెంట్గా ఈ పర్సనాలిటీ మీద వన్ ఆఫ్ ది ఫేమస్ సోషల్ రిఫార్మర్స్, ఈ పర్సనాలిటీ మీద మనకు మూవీ రావడం జరిగింది అండ్ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ బికమ్ లిటిల్ బిట్ కాంట్రవర్సీ. సో ఐ వుడ్ సే because of news we found a question from socio-religious reformation movements, especially from Jyotiba Phule. So the fourth question goes, this particular question asked for 15 marks. So 10 marks annappudu you have to write for 150 words. When it comes to 15 marks annappudu you have to write 250 words. The fourth question goes to Mahatma Jyotirao Phule's writings and efforts of social reforms touched issues of almost all subaltern classes. Subaltern, it's one of the frequent terms we started using from 1950s. Subaltern history, subaltern historiography అంటాం. అంటే మనకు నేషనలిస్ట్ హిస్టరీ ఉంది, తర్వాత మనకు మార్క్సిస్ట్ అప్రోచ్ ఉంది, ఫాలోడ్ బై సబాల్టర్న్ అప్రోచ్ అంటాం. సరే, ద క్వశ్చన్ ఈస్ రిలేటెడ్ టు మహాత్మా జ్యోతిబా ఫులేస్, హౌ ఫులేస్ రైటింగ్, ఆయన బుక్స్ కానివ్వండి, ఆయన న్యూస్ పేపర్స్ కానివ్వండి, మ్యాగజైన్స్ కానివ్వండి, హౌ ఫులేస్ రైటింగ్స్ క్రియేటెడ్ అవేర్నెస్ అమాంగ్ ద పీపుల్ అండ్ హౌ ఫులే వాజ్ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ ఫర్ సోషల్ కాన్షియస్నెస్ among the lower sections of society. It's another direct question, I would say, from a theme called socio-religious reformation movements. And another question from post-independence era, we generally discuss another tag called post-independence era. When you go through syllabus, you come across the line called post-independent consolidation antam. So we generally discuss this particular topic under the tag called 1947-1964. So 1947, the year in which India was given independence, and 1964, the year in which a country's first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, passed away. So, duration we discuss some. So, very, I would say that I won't say it's a direct question, but like fragmented question raavadam jarigindi. Fifth question goes, trace India's consolidation process during early phase of independence in terms of polity. Ante ikkada clear ga adigadam jarigindi, polity, economy, education and ఇంటర్నేషనల్ రిలేషన్స్. సేమ్ అంటే మనం ఇంట్రొడక్షన్ రాసుకొని ఒక్కొక్క ఎలిమెంట్ గురించి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయాల్సి ఉంటుంది, బికాస్ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ గాట్ 15 మార్క్స్, 250 వర్డ్స్, పాలిటీ, ఎకానమీ, ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అండ్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ రిలేషన్స్. అండ్ ఫైనలీ The sixth question, the last question from old history. In fact, from old history, mere observation for the past 2 to 3 years, consecutive years, we found at least 1 or 2 questions. Every year, 1 or 2 questions. Now this year we found only 1 question from old history, and very traditional question, let me tell you, that is a question from revolutions. We generally get questions from old history that is like in the world wars, be it First World War and Second World War, followed by Cold War and all. So we found this year the question from French Revolution. The sixth question goes, the French Revolution has enduring relevance to the contemporary world. In fact, it's true, the statement is true, and so let me tell you some direct question. French Revolution became a source of inspiration for future revolutions and because the war cry of French Revolution, liberty, equality and fraternity, స్వేచ్ఛ, సమానత్వము, సౌభ్రాతృత్వం అంటాం. And you might be knowing these 3 elements we have taken from French Revolution and enshrined in Indian Constitution. So out of 250, what do we call, out of 250 marks of GS paper 1, so we have got 75 marks from history, and obviously it's a kind of, the lion's share history has. Say, I would say the question of this particular year moderate in nature. Unlike the previous years, this year, as far as history is concerned, I'm not talking about other subjects, as far as history is concerned, the questions are moderate. Because direct questions we found, and we found some sort of weightage to art and culture. అది మనకు హరప్పన్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ కానివ్వండి, చందేలా ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ కానివ్వండి, అంటే ఈ టూ క్వశ్చన్స్ మనకు ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ మీద రావడం జరిగింది. దెన్ హౌ అబౌట్ అనదర్ కాంపోనెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ ఆర్ట్ అండ్ కల్చర్ అన్నప్పుడు అక్బర్స్ దీన్ ఈ ఇలాహి, అంటే జనరల్గా మనం అక్బర్స్ దీన్ ఇలాహి మిడివల్లో డిస్కస్ చేసినప్పటికీ, బట్ ఇట్ కమ్స్ అండర్ ఆర్ట్ అండ్ కల్చర్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.